Do any of you in this room have any children, a niece or nephew, a brother or sister, or anyone who you have a strong relationship with? Well, James Green, a resident of Manhattan, did. He had a close relationship with his daughter, Tamika Green. He claimed that he loved Tamika very much, but his actions may say otherwise. He would force food down Tamika's throat until the point where she would throw up. He would also whip Tamika with an electric cord if she was misbehaving. James Green even poisoned little Tamika. This resulted in her death of 5 years old. Tamika was a victim of physical abuse. Physical abuse is the intentional act of causing physical pain to a victim. It may be infrequent, or in poor Tamika's case, it may occur on a daily basis. It includes spitting, scratching, punching, throwing, kicking, any physical or any intentional physical act to harm the victim is physical abuse. According to Vera Morden, sexual abuse is also a form of physical abuse. Sexual abuse can be forcing sex on a partner without their consent. It may also be harming the other partner's sexual organs. And sexual abuse is virtually degrading someone emotionally and physically in a sexual way. Physical and sexual abuse are usually precursed by emotional abuse. Sarah, who was a victim of physical abuse, first suffered strongly by emotional abuse. She was just an average girl going to high school. She was trying to get good grades, but poor Sarah had a boyfriend, Brian. Brian convinced Sarah that her friends were plotting against him, that her friends were plotting against the good guy, Brian. And Sarah believed this. Brian also tried to convince Sarah that some of the clothes she wore was inappropriate. However, usually it was just normal clothes that every high school girl wears. Brian also would constantly call Sarah. He needed to know where she was at all times. And if Sarah did not respond to Brian once, he would get very, very upset. One day, Sarah was talking with another guy, and Brian unfortunately saw this. Later that night, Brian and Sarah were alone, and Brian strangled Sarah to death. Sarah endured through much emotional abuse and eventually died from physical abuse from Brian strangling her. According to Michelle New, an author of Teen Health magazine, Teen Health, emotional abuse includes controlling the other partner, attempting to isolate the other partner from friends or family, and embarrassing the other partner in public. Emotional abuse can also be very verbal, calling your partner names, yelling at your partner, things of that nature. Things that are not physical, but still very degrading to the individual. Many people who go through physical and emotional abuse claim that the emotional abuse hurts even more than the physical abuse. Emotional abuse is a very, very traumatizing event that can damage someone severely for life, and unfortunately can even lead to the end of someone's life. Abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, sexual, is a very serious issue. In America alone, there are over 1 million people who suffer through abuse on an annual basis. unfortunately, in extreme cases, abuse can even lead to the death of loved ones. So, if you or someone you know is suffering through physical abuse, try and find help.